What's a Mog World? Welcome back to Dro Talks. Today we'll be reviewing Mog World by Yahtzee Croshaw and narrated by Yahtzee Croshaw. Please excuse the mess. I'm moving. So, do I recommend? Don't I recommend? I think some of you out there will really enjoy this, and I think some of you out there will not enjoy this. So let's get to it. It's time to talk about the story. So Mog World centers around a main character, Jim, who is kind of a jerk. No, not kind of. He's a jerk. And he dies within like the first 5 minutes, as I said, of the book. And he goes to some sort of afterlife only to be woken up a century later. But now he's sort of a zombie. He has rotting flesh, part skeleton, missing his nose, and he's still a jerk. So he gets raised by a necromancer who gives him a job. And he meets several other undead fellows of his nature. And we're in this fantasy world. So Jim is obsessed with dying, and he tries it pretty much from the onset of the story. And he finds out shortly that he can't die. The other two main characters of the story were also undead. One is Meryl, where she's a very chipper, bright-eyed zombie. And then we got Thaddeus, who he's a heretic based on some religion in this story. And he is righteous in his rhetoric, and he believes everyone is damned, and he was raised to continue to spread the word of his God. And these three end up going on a journey together because stuff happens, and they find themselves without their necromancer. And they also find out that this world, back around 50 years ago, people stopped dying, and this bred a whole new type of economy, and adventuring became sort of a thing. You know, you had these dark lords and quests, and you kind of start getting into like, this is an RPG type story. And as you go further along, you get to understand that this is a simulated world. So Jim, his goal, his motivation the whole way is he wants to die. And he gets into a lot of precarious situations where he wants to die, except when the opportunity comes for him to die, and then he runs away from it, which really breaks from his character. The worst thing about this story is Jim. He's a jackass. You got Meryl, who's very uppity, and she looks to him like he's a hero because of some deeds he did when he was alive and he died. And Thaddeus is in his own way a type of jerk, but you really feel for Thaddeus because he's very sympathetic. He's traumatized, and he's dealing with it with the only way he knows how, which is through his faith. So even though he is very righteous and he blasphemes everybody pretty much, you do sympathize for him. So I did not like Jim, and I was waiting for him to go through his hero arc, and it does happen very abruptly, and even when that happens, it don't make sense. The payoff is very horrible. The end is very horrible. So okay, I guess it might be a little bit less than okay. I got this book on a discount buy, and I would say it's probably still, it's okay. Definitely don't pay full price for this. Don't let this be your one free try. You might get turned away from audiobooks. Again, someone that's really loves RPG, someone that really likes that sense of simulated artificial intelligence and that we are a simulation, I think you might enjoy this book. But for everyone else, so for the vast majority of you, stay away. So what would I give story? I'd give story a 2 out of 5. Now let's go to narration. Normally when an author narrates his own book, it's not a good sign. And that was actually one of the first warning signs when I saw this book. And the narrator, at the very beginning, I didn't like him at all. He over narrates. I mean, he goes to such extremes to differentiate his characters that it's to the point of absurdity. Again, Jim is a jerk, so he's like 100% jerk. Thaddeus is rhetoric. He's 100% rhetoric out his mouth. You got the main villain, or he's not, I guess not the main villain, but one of the main villains, Barry. He's also kind of a heretic, and he's Thaddeus just with a different tone of voice. Meryl is very upbeat. She's super upbeat. I mean, he just goes to the extremes, and I didn't like it at the beginning, but I did grow to like it throughout the story. And actually the narration was what kept me there, because he's funny. He's a very funny narrator, and this story needs to be funny because it's nothing else. I mean, it's nothing else. The only thing you can get out of this story, few laughs. I don't know if there was enough to recommend it, but he was funny. And I actually was very surprised. Again, authors that narrate their own books are normally not that strong. So what would I give narration? I'd give narration a 3 out of 5. So let's go to listenability. I will never listen to this book again. This is just one and done, and it was hard to get through the first time. So listenability, a 1 out of 5. So for overall, that gives us a 2.5. I would actually round this down to a 2. So, Mogworld, have you listened to it? Am I completely wrong? Did I miss something? Let me know. Comment below. As always, thank you for listening to Dro Talks. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Ring that bell to get notified. And we'll see you next time.